In the midst of the city's hustle and bustle, there's a small corner that can become a green sanctuary, your very own balcony. Imagine stepping outside each morning to find pots of strawberries proudly showing off their fresh, sweet red fruit, grown by your own hands. At Crafted Nest, we believe that beauty and an abundant harvest can bloom from simple creativity. Today, we'll explore inspiring ideas that are not only beautiful to look at, but can also be brought to life easily, even in a small space. Every step, from preparing the perfect potting mix to enjoying your very first harvest, will be shared with practical tips and a warm touch, so it feels like you're gardening alongside a close friend. Don't miss a single detail, because this is how an ordinary balcony can be transformed into a little garden that delights both the eyes and the taste buds. If you enjoy inspiration like this, we invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, every fresh idea from Crafted Nest will arrive right at your screen, ready to help you turn your small space into a garden full of wonder. In the quiet of an early morning, when the air still carries the cool breath of night, your balcony transforms into a tiny sanctuary of life. Among the gentle rustle of leaves and the first glimmers of sunlight, a humble yet ingenious creation stands ready, a self-watering bottle system. Made from an empty soda bottle, it doesn't boast expensive technology or complex engineering. Instead, it speaks of resourcefulness, of using what's already in your hands to nurture growth. The bottle, filled with water and inverted into the soil, releases its gift slowly, keeping the earth moist even on days when the sun lingers too long. You watch the droplets disappear into the dark soil, knowing that each one is a promise of steady nourishment for the strawberry plants you've cared for since they were seeds. There's no rush, no waste, just a quiet, dependable rhythm that mirrors the patience of nature itself. This simple method brings more than convenience. It brings peace of mind. You no longer need to hover with the watering can every morning or worry if you'll be away for a day or two. The plants, their roots wrapped in gentle dampness, respond with gratitude. Lush leaves unfurl, white blossoms open shyly, and soon, bright red fruit peeks from the green. Perhaps the greatest beauty of this system lies not in its efficiency, but in how it turns an everyday item into a vessel of life. In a world often rushing toward the complicated, there's something grounding about the simple. You lean on the balcony rail, watching the sunlight play on the strawberry leaves, and realize that sometimes the smallest acts of care bring the sweetest rewards. There's a certain kind of richness the earth remembers, a quiet depth born from nature's own recycling. As you stand on your balcony, a bucket of soil before you, the earthy scent of worm castings rises, sweet, natural, and full of promise. These tiny, dark granules hold more than nutrients. They hold the history of leaves and roots that have become food for new life. Your hands, wrapped in gloves, sink into the mix. The soil feels loose, airy, and alive beneath your touch. Into it, you blend the worm castings slowly, watching their deep color mingle with the lighter soil. This is not just preparation. It's an act of kindness, a gift to the plants before they even take root. Each pinch of casting carries microscopic armies of good bacteria, minerals, and organic matter that strawberries crave. The beauty of this mix is in its quiet generosity. The worm castings don't overwhelm the plants with sudden bursts of nutrition. Instead, they release their wealth gently, feeding the roots in steady whispers. You know that in the weeks ahead, the leaves will deepen in green, the flowers will multiply, and the fruit will grow plump, all from the unseen work happening beneath the surface. There's something humbling about working so closely with soil. It reminds you that no matter how small your balcony, you are part of something much bigger. You lean over the pots, pressing the final layer of enriched soil into place, feeling a deep satisfaction. The strawberries will thank you, not with words, but with the taste of their sun-warmed sweetness. In the middle of the city, where concrete and glass often crowd the view, Your balcony becomes a pocket of green, a quiet rebellion against the rush outside. It's small, yes, but in its modest space, it carries the promise of sweetness. You've arranged the pots in careful lines along the railing, each one holding a strawberry plant whose leaves stretch toward the sun. The trick in a compact setup is not the size, but the harmony. Every pot has its place, positioned so the plants receive just enough light without crowding each other. Some sit higher on shelves, catching the morning sun, while others rest closer to the floor, their roots staying cool in the midday heat. The air feels softer here, carrying the gentle scent of soil and leaves. You've kept the space uncluttered, a small chair in the corner, a watering can resting nearby, so there's room for you to sit and watch. This is more than a garden. It's a refuge. You can hear the faint hum of the city below, but here, time moves differently. Even in such a limited space, the plants thrive. The leaves rustle with every breeze, the blossoms sway, and tiny strawberries begin to form, their green slowly blushing into red. You realize that a balcony garden doesn't have to be grand to be beautiful. It only needs care, intention, and a little creativity. You lean back in your chair, watching the sunlight play on the strawberry leaves, and understand, a compact garden can still yield abundance, not only in fruit, but in peace. The sun can be a gentle friend or a relentless guest. On warm days, your strawberry pots drink in the light, but the soil beneath them dries faster than you can water. This is where the quiet charm of rice husks comes in, a simple, golden shield that keeps the earth cool and moist. You gather the husks in a small basket, their light textures slipping through your fingers. As you scatter them across the dark soil, a soft rustling sound fills the morning air. The contrast is beautiful, warm gold over deep brown, beneath a crown of green leaves and white blossoms. It feels like tucking the plants under a blanket, protecting them from the harshness of the day. The husks do more than keep moisture in. They guard the roots from sudden swings in temperature and slow the growth of weeds that would steal precious nutrients. It's a small effort with quiet, lasting effects, the kind of care that often goes unseen but makes all the difference. Days later, you notice the soil still feels damp even after long hours of sunlight. The plants look fresher, their leaves standing tall, and tiny fruits begin to swell with juice. You realize that gardening is often about these subtle acts, small adjustments, gentle protection, patient attention. Leaning on the balcony railing, you see the city beyond, but your eyes rest on the calm within your pots. The rice husks gleam softly under the afternoon sun, a reminder that even the simplest materials can carry great value when placed in the service of life. Every garden begins with a vessel, the home in which roots will take hold and life will quietly unfold. On your balcony, that vessel doesn't have to be store-bought or costly. It can be something rescued from the corner of your home, given a second chance. An old plastic container, once overlooked, is now scrubbed clean, its surface catching the light like something reborn. With a steady hand, you drill small holes into the base. The sound is quick, but its purpose is lasting. These holes will let water escape, keeping the soil from becoming heavy and stale. You imagine the roots breathing easier, stretching out in search of nutrients, no longer threatened by the weight of trapped moisture. You fill the pot with soil, rich and loose, and set in a young strawberry plant. The green leaves stand out against the worn plastic, now alive with new purpose. Perhaps the container once carried paint, or rice, or laundry soap. Its history doesn't matter now. What matters is the life it cradles. Looking across your balcony, you see a collection of such planters, each one different in shape and size, each with its own quiet story. Their variety adds a gentle charm to the space, a reminder that beauty often grows from resourcefulness. When rain falls, you hear the gentle drip from the drainage holes and you smile, knowing the design works exactly as it should. In this small act of recycling, you've not only given life to your plants, but also honored the principle that nothing is too humble to be part of something beautiful. Every gardener knows the joy of seeing blossoms turn into fruit, but with that joy comes an uninvited crowd, pests and fungi, eager to share in your harvest. You could fight them with harsh chemicals, but your balcony is a place of life, not poison. So instead, you choose a gentler defense, one crafted from nature itself. On the counter inside, a small bottle waits, filled with a golden mixture of garlic, neem oil, and mild soap. The scent is sharp but clean, carrying the quiet strength of plants that have defended themselves for centuries. You shake the bottle lightly, stepping out into the morning sun where your strawberries stand. Each spray is a fine mist, settling over leaves and stems like a morning dew. Droplets glisten under the sunlight, clinging to the edges of blossoms and the curves of young fruit. There's no rush. You take your time, turning each pot so every side receives its share. The beauty of this organic spray isn't only in what it repels, but in what it preserves. Bees still visit, their small bodies dusted with pollen, and ladybugs still wander the leaves in search of tiny meals. The balance remains intact, the life on your balcony unbroken. Days later, the plants are as vibrant as ever, their leaves free of the telltale spots of fungus, their fruits untouched by pests. You realize that caring for a garden isn't just about feeding it, but also about protecting it, with choices that honor both the plants and the world around them. You set the bottle back on the shelf, knowing it will be called upon again. And when it is, it will once more stand as a quiet guardian of your harvest. Before the sweetness of strawberries, before the blossoms and the green leaves, there is a moment of quiet beginning. It happens in the stillness of a tray, in soil that cradles seeds so small they seem almost fragile. You hold them in your hand, marveling at how something so tiny can one day bear fruit. The seedling trays rest on your balcony table, each cell ready to become a cradle for life. You press the seeds gently into the moist soil, covering them with just enough earth to keep them safe, yet close enough to feel the warmth of the sun. A light mist of water follows, settling over the surface like a promise. Each morning, you step out to check them. At first, there is nothing but soil and patience. Then one day, you notice a thin green thread pushing through. It is so small you could miss it if you weren't looking, but you are looking, and your heart stirs. Soon, another appears, and another, until the tray is alive with delicate shoots, each reaching upward. The germination stage is tender work. The young plants ask for consistent moisture, gentle light, and protection from strong winds. You rotate the trays to keep their stems growing straight, and you speak softly to them, even if only in your thoughts. In these early days, you learn something about time. Growth cannot be forced. It must be invited, nurtured, and trusted. As the seedlings grow stronger, their tiny leaves spreading wider, you imagine them in their future pots, heavy with fruit. For now, though, you are content to tend them here, in the safety of their trays, watching beginnings take shape one quiet morning at a time. Beneath the surface, where sunlight never touches, the real strength of a plant begins in the roots. They are the silent anchors, the hidden lifelines, and giving them a little extra care can change everything. That's why you prepare the Root Growth Booster, a gentle blend of nutrients designed to encourage roots to grow deep and strong. On the balcony table, a jar of clear water waits. You stir in the solution, watching it cloud slightly as minerals dissolve. The scent is earthy, clean, almost like the forest after rain. This is not a quick-fix miracle. It's a quiet invitation for the plant to dig deeper, to hold on tighter. Kneeling beside the pots, you pour the mixture slowly around the base of each strawberry plant. The water seeps down, disappearing into the soil, carrying its gift to the hidden world below. You imagine the roots stretching toward it, absorbing the goodness, weaving themselves more firmly into their home. In the days that follow, you notice changes that others might miss. The leaves seem to hold their shape longer in the midday sun. New shoots push upward with quiet determination. The plants sway less in the wind, their invisible anchors now gripping the earth more tightly. It's a reminder that what's unseen often matters most. While the blossoms and fruit may be what you show to others, it's the roots, nourished, strengthened, and cared for, that make it possible. As you put away the jar and watch the sun drift lower over your balcony, you feel the calm satisfaction of knowing you've helped your plants where it matters most, at the foundation. Space is precious on a balcony, and every square inch matters. Yet, with a little imagination, you can make your garden grow not just outward, but upward. The vertical strawberry rack stands as a testament to that idea, a tower of life, tier upon tier of green and red. You remember when the balcony felt crowded with just a few pots on the floor. Then came the idea, build a rack that lets the plants rise toward the sun. You chose sturdy wood, perhaps from an old pallet, sanding it until it felt smooth under your hands. Each shelf was spaced carefully, just enough for the leaves to stretch without touching the tier above. Once the rack was in place, the transformation was instant. Where there had been just a few pots, now there were many, each with its own space, its own patch of sunlight. Standing back, you saw not only efficiency but beauty, a living wall that shifted with the seasons. Caring for the rack feels different too. Watering starts at the top, and you watch the droplets trickle down, feeding the lower levels like a gentle rain. The scent of strawberry leaves drifts upward as you work, mingling with the smell of fresh wood. As the weeks pass, the rack becomes more than just a space saver. It's a statement, proof that even in the smallest corners, abundance can thrive. Neighbors passing below sometimes glance up and smile, catching sight of bright fruit peeking through the leaves. And you smile back, knowing that your balcony has become not just a place to grow food, but a place to grow ideas. Sometimes the most effective solutions are born from the simplest materials. A humble plastic bottle, once emptied of its drink, now takes on a second life as a quiet, constant giver of water. This is the heart of your low-cost drip irrigation system. Practical, sustainable, and perfect for the balcony garden. You start with a bottle, clean and dry. A few small holes near the cap, made with care, will decide the rhythm of the water's release. Fill it, invert it, and press the neck gently into the soil beside the strawberry plant. And then you step back and watch. Slowly, patiently, the bottle begins its work. Drop by drop, water seeps into the soil, reaching the roots without flooding them. The earth remains damp even under the warm touch of midday sun, and the plant thrives with a steady supply of moisture. It's a system that works while you're away, one that doesn't ask for your constant attention but rewards you with healthier, stronger plants. What's beautiful about this method is not only its efficiency, but also its message. It shows that gardening doesn't need to be expensive or complicated. With a little creativity, waste becomes resource, and something that might have been thrown away instead becomes a lifeline for your plants. Standing on your balcony, you look at the row of bottles catching the light, each one serving its quiet purpose. The strawberries seem to nod in approval, their leaves lifting toward the sun. And in that moment, you realize you've built not just a garden, but a partnership, one where you and your plants both find joy in the simplest of things. Every plant's journey begins in the soil, and the way you prepare it can mean the difference between a struggling seedling and a thriving, fruit-bearing beauty. The secret lies in building it like a home, layer by layer, each serving a purpose. You start at the bottom, placing small stones to help water flow freely, ensuring the roots will never sit in stagnation. Above that comes a layer of compost, rich with organic matter, ready to feed the plant from the moment it takes root. Then, a deeper layer of fertile, airy soil, where the roots will weave themselves in search of nutrients and stability. Finally, a gentle top layer, fine mulch or rice husks, to shield the moisture and protect the life within. As you build each layer, you're not just filling a pot. You're creating an ecosystem, a place where drainage, aeration, and nutrition work together in harmony. The scent rises as you work, earthy, sweet, and full of promise. Your hands move with care, pressing the soil lightly, making sure it stays loose enough for roots to breathe. When the strawberry plant is finally set in place, its roots stretch downward, discovering the richness waiting below. In the days that follow, you notice how steady the growth is, how the leaves stay lush, and how flowers bloom without hesitation. It's a quiet satisfaction, knowing that what you see above is the result of what you've built below, a reminder that in gardening, as in life, the unseen foundations matter most. And as you stand back, looking at the row of pots ready for the season ahead, you feel the simple joy of having prepared the ground well. In a small space, flexibility is everything. Your balcony may be narrow, shared with a chair or a laundry rack, yet you still dream of fresh strawberries at your fingertips. That's where lightweight, portable planters become your quiet allies. Vessels you can move with ease, adapting to the rhythm of the sun and the dance of the seasons. You choose planters made from fabric or thin but sturdy plastic, light enough to lift with one hand even when full of soil. Their shape holds the plant securely, while the material allows the roots to breathe and water to drain gently. On mornings when the sun comes from the east, you place them near the railing. In the heat of the afternoon, you shift them into the shade. Each move feels like guiding a friend to comfort. What you gain in mobility is more than convenience, it's control. You can group the plants together to create a lush green corner or spread them apart to let each one bask in its own patch of light. On stormy days, you can bring them closer to the wall, protecting the delicate leaves from harsh winds. As you move the planters, you notice the plants seem to respond, their leaves turning quickly toward the new light, blossoms opening with quiet confidence. It's a small but beautiful exchange. You offer them care and adaptability, and they repay you with steady growth and the promise of sweet fruit. On your balcony, space may be limited, but possibilities are not. These lightweight planters prove that even in the smallest corners, a garden can shift, grow, and flourish under your hand. And in that gentle act of moving them, you feel the living bond between gardener and plant grows stronger each day. There's a magic that happens quietly, almost unnoticed, between the soft petals of a flower and the weight of ripening fruit. One morning, the blossoms open wide, white and delicate against the green leaves. Then, without fanfare, they begin to fade, their edges curling inward, making way for the tiny green hearts of strawberries to form. This is the most tender of transitions, and your role as the gardener is to guide it with care. The plants need steady moisture now, not too much to drown the roots, but enough to keep the soil cool and welcoming. The blossoms and new fruit are delicate. A splash too strong could harm them, so you water gently at the base, letting the roots carry the gift upward. Nutrients become especially important during this stage. A light feed, rich in potassium, helps the plants channel their energy into swelling the fruit. You remove any damaged or yellowing leaves, allowing the sun to reach deep into the heart of the plant. And while it's tempting to fuss over every bloom, you learn that sometimes the best care is simply letting the process unfold. In the days that follow, you watch the green fruit blush into pink, then deepen into a rich, inviting red. It feels like a reward, not just for the plant, but for you for your patience, your gentle hands, and your willingness to trust nature's timing. Standing on your balcony, you realize the stage is more than just a step in growth. It's a reminder that beauty often lies in the in-between, in the quiet shift from what is to what will be. And when you finally taste that first fruit, you'll remember every blossom that made it possible. The sun is the quiet architect of your garden's success. On the balcony, where light shifts hour by hour, every pot's position becomes a thoughtful choice. Morning sunlight is soft and gentle, a warm embrace that wakes the leaves and coaxes the flowers open. By afternoon, its strength deepens, pouring energy into the fruit. You begin each season by watching, not the plants, but the path of the sun. You notice how, in spring, It leans low and spills light across the railing, and how in summer, it stands high, sending bright beams straight down. With this knowledge, you arrange your pots like dancers on a stage, each given their moment in the spotlight. The tallest plants stand toward the back, letting shorter ones in front bask without shade. Pots that need extra warmth are pulled into the sun's path earlier in the day, while those at risk of drying too quickly are given a touch of afternoon shade. You rotate them gently every few days, ensuring each leaf has its chance to drink in the light. Over time, you see the difference. Blossoms appear more freely, fruit ripens evenly, and the plants hold their vigor longer into the season. What seems like a simple act, moving pots, becomes a form of conversation with the sun, a way of saying, "Here, this one needs you now." On a quiet afternoon, you pause to watch how the light rests on your strawberries, catching the red and green in warm tones. The city hums below, but here on the balcony, it's just you, the plants, and the golden patience of the sun. There's a moment in every plant's life when it needs a little help, not because it is weak, but because its growth has outpaced its strength. Your strawberry plants, now heavy with fruit, lean gently to one side, their stems stretching under the weight of their own success. That's when the wooden sticks come in, quiet guardians that stand watch over your harvest. You choose sticks that feel sturdy but light, cut to the right height for the plant's frame. Pressing them into the soil, you hear the soft crunch of earth making space. A length of soft string, tied loosely, holds the stems upright without restricting their movement. The plants sway lightly in the breeze, yet remain supported, like dancers with a steady partner. This simple structure does more than keep the plants upright. By lifting the leaves and fruit away from the soil, you protect them from dampness, pests, and rot. Sunlight reaches every leaf more evenly, and the fruits blush faster under its touch. As you work, there's a meditative rhythm to the tying, not too tight, not too loose. You step back, check the angle, and make small adjustments until each plant stands balanced and at ease. The transformation is subtle yet satisfying. The once leaning stems now look proud and strong. Days later, when you see the fruit ripen evenly and the leaves flutter freely in the wind, you realize that support, given at the right time, can change the outcome entirely. On your balcony, the wooden sticks stand quietly, a reminder that even the smallest acts of care can help life reach its fullest shape. There's a quiet pride in feeding your plants with something you've made yourself, a mixture born from scraps, patience, and the rhythm of nature. In a simple jar or bottle, your homemade liquid organic fertilizer waits, dark and earthy, carrying the memory of vegetable peels, fruit scraps, and composted greens transformed into pure nourishment. On the balcony, the strawberry plants are in their prime, blossoms turning to fruit, and their appetite grows with each passing day. You mix the concentrated liquid with water, swirling until the colors blend, the scent earthy yet alive. It's not the sharp chemical tang of store-bought feeds, but a smell that reminds you of rain-soaked soil in spring. As you pour the diluted mix around the base of each plant, you imagine the roots waking up, drinking deeply, drawing in minerals and organic goodness. Within days, the leaves seem to deepen in color, their edges more defined. New blossoms appear, and the fruit begins to swell with a quiet urgency. What makes this practice more than just gardening is the cycle it represents. Nothing wasted, everything returned. The scraps from your kitchen become the sweetness of strawberries on your plate. The act feels honest, connected, and deeply human. Standing back, you watch the pots lined along the railing, each plant basking in the sun, their growth fueled by something you've crafted with your own hands. The balcony smells faintly of leaves and earth, and you feel the satisfaction of knowing you're not just growing fruit, but growing a relationship, one that thrives on care, patience, and the gift of returning to the soil what it once gave. Even the smallest balcony can hold a secret, a place where waste transforms into life. In one quiet corner, your compost bin stands, not just as a container, but as a storyteller, turning yesterday's scraps into tomorrow's growth. Inside, layers of strawberry leaves, vegetable peels, and dry trimmings mingle, breaking down in a slow, natural dance. You start with the simplest of habits. Instead of tossing garden waste or kitchen scraps into the trash, you gather them in a small pail. Banana peels, wilted lettuce, used coffee grounds, each is carried to the bin, where the process begins. The scent is earthy, not unpleasant, and the bin hums with unseen life. Tiny organisms working tirelessly to create black gold for your plants. The beauty of balcony composting is its scale. It doesn't demand a large yard or a sprawling garden, just a corner, a container, and the patience to let nature work. You keep the balance, right? A mix of greens for nitrogen, browns for carbon, and just enough moisture to keep it all alive. Weeks pass, and when you lift the lid, you find the change is complete. What was once waste is now dark, crumbly compost, rich with nutrients. You scoop it into your hands, feeling its softness, and carry it to the strawberry pots. As you mix it into the soil, you know you're feeding the plants not just with nutrients, but with the essence of renewal. Looking over your balcony, you see more than plants. You see a cycle in motion: growth, harvest, return. And in it, the quiet truth that nothing in nature is ever truly lost, only transformed. There's a special kind of anticipation in a balcony garden. The moment when the strawberries turn from pale green to blushing pink, then deepen into a red so inviting you can almost taste it with your eyes. Harvest time is not just about picking fruit. It's about catching them at their perfect moment. You learn to read the signs. A ripe strawberry isn't just red. It glows slightly in the sunlight, its seeds resting on smooth skin, its stem bending gently under its weight. In the cool of the morning, you walk along your balcony, eyes scanning for that exact shade, fingers brushing the leaves aside. Harvesting is an art of gentleness. You pinch the stem just above the fruit, avoiding any tug that might disturb the plant. The berries drop softly into your palm, warm from the sun, carrying the sweet scent that only comes when they've ripened on the vine. One by one, they fill your basket, the reds and greens of leaves and fruit blending in a picture of quiet abundance. The key to a quick, plentiful harvest lies in regular picking. Each ripe fruit you take encourages the plant to produce more, keeping the cycle of blooms and berries alive. You water lightly afterward, letting the roots recover and remove any damaged or overripe fruit to keep the plants healthy. Later, as you sit with your basket on the balcony table, you taste the first berry, warm, sweet, and richer than anything from a store. In that moment, the weeks of tending, watering, and waiting all make sense. The harvest is more than just food. It's the reward for your patience and care, a little burst of summer grown with your own hands. Summer on the balcony can be both a gift and a challenge. The warmth that coaxes blooms into life can just as easily wilt leaves and dry out the soil. Your strawberries, so vibrant in the cool of the morning, sometimes bow under the fierce midday heat. But with a few careful tricks, you can help them thrive even in the hottest days. You start by giving them shelter, a light fabric canopy draped above the pots, soft enough to let in light, but firm enough to filter the harsh rays. It casts a gentle shadow, cooling the air around the plants while still allowing the sun's warmth to feed them. Beneath the leaves, a layer of rice husk mulch keeps the soil damp, shielding the roots from sudden temperature changes. In the brightest corners, you place reflective boards or light-colored walls behind the plants, bouncing indirect sunlight onto them so they still receive energy without the burn. Watering shifts to early mornings and late afternoons, when the roots can drink without the risk of evaporation stealing the gift too quickly. You watch the difference unfold in small, steady signs, leaves standing firm instead of drooping, flowers lasting longer before giving way to fruit, and soil that stays cool to the touch even after hours of heat. Gardening in the sun isn't about fighting the heat, it's about learning to work with it, guiding it so it nurtures instead of harms. On your balcony, With the soft shade fluttering in the breeze, the strawberries rest easy, ready to reward you with their sweetness no matter how high the summer climbs. Every gardener starts somewhere, and for a beginner, the simplest path is often the most rewarding. On a balcony. This begins with arranging your strawberry pots in a way that makes them easy to care for, close enough to tend without strain, but spaced so each one has room to grow. You choose 3 or 4 pots of a similar size, placing them where they will catch the morning sun. A triangle or square formation works well, letting you reach each plant without stepping around too much. The arrangement isn't about filling every inch of space, but about creating a flow, a small, organized corner that invites you to return each day. Keeping the layout tidy helps more than just appearance. It means you can water evenly, check for pests quickly, and harvest without disturbing other plants. You can also see at a glance which ones need a little more attention, whether that's a splash of water, a pinch of fertilizer, or simply a moment to clear away a yellowing leaf. As the days pass, your hands learn the rhythm. Water from left to right, inspect from top to bottom, harvest from the ripest to the newest. Soon, the plants respond, their leaves stretching outward, their blossoms opening more freely. For a beginner, it's a comfort to know that success doesn't depend on complexity. Even with just a few well-placed pots, you can enjoy the sight of red berries peeking through green leaves, the soft scent of fruit on warm afternoons, and the satisfaction of a harvest grown by your own care. This simple arrangement becomes the heart of your balcony, proof that even the smallest garden can bring joy when given attention and love.